Hey everybody, I'm Samuel. I'm an autistic graduate student in clinical psychology here in Belgium, training to be an autistic therapist for neurodivergent clients. I had to do a 10-minute video with a client and I got assigned to the CBT professor. Um, For those of you who might not know, CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy, is the paradigm underlying ABA therapy. So, which is, I'm not here to say that it's all good or all bad, but just so that's a bit of the context. I was playing a therapist, it was very scripted and structured, and it brought back a lot of difficult memories about masking and scripting, the whole pressure of finding the right words, saying the appropriate things was just a huge flashback. Just being a very structured, directive therapist, and that's not what I want to be because I personally, with the clients I want to work with, neurodivergent individuals who have probably been camouflaging and masking their whole lives, like I want to help bolster their sense of epistemic authority, which is the authority you have on your own knowledge of like your own experience, that is valid and that you can find words to put to it without feeling like you're adapting to other people's expectations. That the natural mechanisms in you which generate your thoughts and your feelings and your the way you look at the world, that those are valid. They are valid. You're not bad. You're not wrong. You're not like a broken person. You're not gonna always be misunderstood. There's people out there who who understand you, who understand your experiences, who you don't have to explain and use the prefrontal cortex and be like with your words and just all of that shit, all that trying so hard that I did for so long. And I felt like with this exam I had to do that again all over and get back into that state and that space, mental space. And with it came a lot of those feelings again of, you know, inadequacy and feeling like it wasn't, that I wouldn't be understood if I complained about it. And I thankfully did complain about it, and I have so many neurodivergent people in my life, and I got a lot of positive, like, oh my God, like I get it. And, you know, I showed it to some of my friends, and they were like, yeah, 100% get why that would be hell to have to do that. And from talking with so many autistic people, watching so many autistic people, having a community of minds and hearts where your experiences are reflected, and having words like meltdowns and shutdowns and autistic burnout are ways to reclaim that space, that epistemic space. Like, these are experiences that we share, that I see you, you know, and I know this, and you know that, and that process that increases the amount of stability in ourselves as autistic people. It increases our sense of self continuity, of like, I make sense to myself, and because also I make sense to other people, those two at the same time. You know, I notice that I feel a sense of personal identity and self continuity within myself, and I notice it as well that other people also perceive me as a being with self continuity across time, and those two together mean that, you know, that really bolsters me and molds me into being, having a center, having a sense of who I am and stability across time, which with whereupon I can accumulate learnings and understandings and experiences that relate back to that core self and that understanding of who I am. All of this stuff was kind of just gone when I was doing this CBT assignment, and I felt powerless, and it was really stressful. And then that fear of being misunderstood. I don't know if it's a fear, but it's almost like a sadness or a hopelessness of already giving up before even trying to explain it to neurotypical people of like, you know what, this was really fucking hard. Especially feeling like other people do not understand, cannot hold in their mind what is going through in my mind, which is absolutely essential for who you are and mirror you for who you are. I think one of the main reasons is because that's, again, holding the mind in the mind. That's how we learned to even think of ourselves as a separate individual and how we know who we are and see ourselves and know what we feel. It's from this, when we were babies, having our usually mother, but our caregivers mirror us and show us our emotions by through them. You know, when you have a mom doing to a baby, like just mirroring their emotions and showing them what they're feeling. That's how we get to know who we are and what we feel. And from there, you can really go into all this stuff like self love, self understanding, self compassion, which you can't do if you don't have that self bit. How are you going to have self love if you don't know who you are? How are you going to have self understanding if you don't have a feeling of self? How are you going to have healthy boundaries? How are you going to have good relationships and intimacy if you don't exist and you don't feel like you exist because you haven't been seen by other people and held and contained on a conceptual level, on an affective level, on a, then that's not going to be quite as possible. So, was it completely useless as an assignment? I don't know if that's a good question to ask. Did I learn stuff from it? Yes, obviously, because human beings learn from every experience. Like, we're constantly learning. That's why we have memory systems, is to learn. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm just annoyed by people like, well, at least you learn. Yeah, obviously, I learned stuff about it. I also learned a lot that I don't think the professors were expecting me to learn or planning me to learn. Like, all the stuff I just told you really got reinforced in me because of this incredibly difficult experience that I just went through. So yeah, I did learn stuff from it, but learning stuff from it shouldn't always be the ultimate goal because yeah, we're always learning. No duh. So would I do it again? Hell no. Hell no. I don't want. That was my experience with this CBT assignment.